suffered. Mama, I really suffered for this house. I worked when I was sick. I didn't rest. I sent every penny home. Mama, don't tell me. This is the house I have been suffering for.
Amara stepped out of the airport and waited for the world to feel right. She had dreamed of this moment for 7 long years. The Nigerian sun on her skin, the familiar noise, her mother running to embrace her, loud prayers and tears of joy. But Mama Ngozi stood alone near the car, arms hanging by her sides. No smile, no shout, no excitement, just silence. Amara forced a big smile anyway. "Mama, I'm finally home."
Mama.
Her mother nodded slowly. "Welcome, my daughter." That was all. Amara's chest tightened, but she pushed the feeling away. She's just overwhelmed. 7 years is a long time. The emerald green dress she had bought 2 weeks ago suddenly felt heavy. She had skipped meals for 3 days to afford it. She wanted to look like a success. She wanted her mother to see that every sacrifice had been worth it. Now, Mama Ngozi barely looked at her. Inside the car, Amara talked without stopping. She pulled out her phone, scrolling through years of saved photos. "Look, Mama, these are the tiles I choose, and this is the wall color, warm ivory. See? The gate will be black iron with gold touches. Beautiful, right?" Mama Ngozi kept her eyes fixed on the road ahead. Her hands gripped each other so tightly that her knuckles shone white. She said nothing. Amara's voice grew quieter. "Mama, are you okay?" "I'm fine." The car turned left instead of right, away from the village road and toward the thick bush and forest path. Amara sat up. "Mama, where are we going? The house is in the village." No answer. The trees grew taller. The road became narrower. Dirt replaced tar. Amara's heart began to race. "Why are we going into the forest, Mama? Where is my house?" Still no answer. 7 years ago, Amara arrived in America with $200 and a heart full of hope. She slept on a cousin's couch for months. She took a nursing assistant job that paid $13.50 per hour. After rent, transport, and food, almost nothing remained. Still, she sent money home every month, $300, then $500, then more. She worked double shifts day and night. Her body grew thin. Dark circles settled under her eyes and never left. One cold night in 2018, she sent $1,200, every cent she had saved for months. She sat on the bathroom floor afterward, eating dry noodles, telling herself the same words. The house is growing. It will be worth it. When her grandmother died, she could not afford to come home. She cried alone in her small room while her family buried her thousands of miles away. Her boyfriend left her in year 6. "You only care about that house," he said. She did not beg him to stay. She opened her banking app and scheduled the next transfer instead. Every Sunday, her mother's voice on the phone was warm and steady. "The foundation is done. The walls are coming up. Your house is almost ready, my daughter. Just a little more." Amara believed every word. But one memory now refused to stay buried. During a video call, she had seen Uncle Kelechi sitting in her mother's best chair, legs stretched out, eating like a king. He smiled too widely at the camera. "Amara, our American daughter." Her mother had looked nervous, almost afraid. Amara had ignored it then. She could not ignore it now. The car stopped. Mama Ngozi opened the door and stepped out without a word. She began walking into the forest. Amara followed, her heels sinking into the soft red earth with every step. The dress she had chosen so carefully kept catching on branches. "Mama, please talk to me. You are scaring me." Her mother kept walking. The trees closed in. The air grew cooler and heavier. Strange shadows stretched across the path. In the distance, Amara saw villagers standing between the trees watching. Their faces were heavy with something that looked like guilt. No one waved, no one smiled. Mama Ngozi finally stopped. She turned around slowly. Tears streamed down her face, old tears that had been falling in secret for years. Her hand shook as she raised it and pointed ahead. Amara followed her mother's finger. There, half hidden by weeds and creeping plants, stood 4 broken walls. No roof, no windows, no doors, just crumbling blocks being swallowed by the forest. A rusted gate leaned uselessly against nothing. Amara's knees nearly gave way. Mama Ngozi's voice came out broken, barely louder than a whisper. "This is it, Amara." She swallowed hard. "This is your house." Amara stared at the crumbling walls. Her dream lay dead in front of her. 4 broken blocks, no roof, no windows, weeds growing tall through the cracked floor. The gate she had chosen so carefully was now a rusted piece of metal leaning sideways like a drunkard. One touch and another chunk of wall crumbled into her hand. Cheap, worthless. She dropped it. "Mama," her voice cracked. "What is this?" Mama Ngozi stood frozen, tears rolling down her face, but she said nothing. Amara stepped closer. "I sent you over $40,000. 40,000! 7 years of my life. Answer me, what am I looking at?" Her mother finally broke. She dropped to her knees in the dirt with a heavy, painful sound. Her body shook as years of guilt poured out. "It was your uncle Kelechi?" she whispered. It had started 2 years after construction began. Uncle Kelechi came to the house one night. He didn't knock. He walked in like he owned the place and sat in Mama Ngozi's best chair. "Sister, I am in trouble." He spoke calmly. No panic, just cold calculation. Violent men were after him. Big debts. He said they would kill him if he didn't pay. Mama Ngozi refused at first. She told him the money belonged to Amara. Every dollar came from her daughter's pain. But Kelechi leaned forward, eyes sharp. "Amara is young. She is in America. She can make more money. But if I die, can you live with that? Will you tell your daughter you chose a house over your own brother's life?" He kept coming back again and again, each time with a new story, new threats, new pressure. He coached her on what to say. Tell her the rains delayed the work. Tell her materials are expensive. Tell her it's just a little more. Mama Ngozi obeyed. Every Sunday call became a lie. While Amara suffered abroad, skipping meals, working through sickness, missing her grandmother's funeral, her mother fed her hope. Meanwhile, Uncle Kelechi used the money to build his own solid house on the other side of town. Good blocks, proper roof, painted walls. He moved his family in and told everyone God had blessed him. On Amara's land, he paid a local mason just enough to lay 4 weak walls. Then he stopped, and the forest took over. Mama Ngozi held with the shame every single day. She stopped sleeping well, she lost weight, she aged 10 years in 2. But fear of destroying the family kept her silent. Back in the forest, Mama Ngozi was still on her knees. "He said they would kill him," she cried. "He said you are young, that you would make more money. I believed him. I wanted to believe him." Amara's hands trembled. "So, my pain had an expiry date?" Her voice rose, shaking with rage and hurt. "I starved. I walked until I couldn't stand. I missed Grandma's burial. I lost the man I loved. All because you chose him over me?" Mama Ngozi reached out, but Amara stepped back. "Every Sunday, you looked at my tired face on that phone and you lied. I told you I was suffering. I told you I was lonely. And you said my house was almost ready. You smiled while I was dying inside. The older woman bent forward until her forehead touched the dirt. Her cries were loud and broken, the sound of a mother whose heart had finally shattered. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Amara. I didn't know how to stop." Amara looked at the ruins. 7 years of blood, sweat, and tears reduced to this. She wanted to scream. She wanted to destroy something, but all she could do was stand there, tears falling silently as something inside her died. Then footsteps approached, confident, unhurried. A familiar voice rang out from the trees full of fake warmth. "Uncle Kelechi, our American daughter, you have finally come back to us." Uncle Kelechi stepped out from the trees wearing a bright, expensive agbada. His arms were wide open. A big smile sat on his face. He looked like a man coming to welcome a hero. He had no idea that Amara had been told everything. He kept walking forward, smiling, arms spread, ready to embrace her, until he saw Amara's face. The smile froze. His steps slowed. Amara stared at him, eyes burning with 7 years of pain, betrayal, and fury. She didn't blink. She didn't move. For the first time, Uncle Kelechi looked afraid. He tried to laugh. "Amara, my dear, what is going on? Why is your mother on the ground like that?" Amara took one step forward. Her voice was low and cold. "You took everything from me." Uncle Kelechi's smile disappeared completely. She continued, her words sharp as knives. "The $800 I sent in 2018, I had pneumonia. I walked with fever because I refused to miss that transfer. I told myself it was for my house." Her voice rose. "The $1,200 in 2019. I didn't eat properly for weeks. I lost weight. I cried every night, all for walls that never existed." Tears burned in her eyes, but she didn't stop. "I missed my grandmother's funeral. I sat alone in America while my family buried her because I was saving money for this." She pointed at the ruins. "For nothing." Mama Ngozi remained on her knees, sobbing quietly. Uncle Kelechi's face changed. The nice uncle mask fell off. His eyes turned hard and mean. "You think you are the only one who suffered? People suffer here every day. At least you are abroad, eating better food than us. Your mother needed to help family. Blood is thicker than..." "Blood?" Amara cut him off, her voice shaking with rage. "You stole from your own blood. You built your house with my pain. You coached my mother to lie to me every Sunday. You threatened her. You destroyed me. For what? For walls and paint?" The villagers began to move. Mama Chioma, an old woman who had watched everything for years, stepped forward. "I saw you," she said loudly, "at night, removing blocks and materials from this plot. Twice. You told me to keep quiet. I did, but no more." A younger man came out next. "I drove you to sell the materials in the next town. I know how much you made." More voices joined, one after another. The truth poured out like water breaking a dam. Every secret, every stolen brick, every lie. Uncle Kelechi looked around. There was nowhere to run. His face turned gray. Real fear entered his eyes. Mama Ngozi finally stood up. She wiped her face and looked at her brother. "Enough, Kelechi," she said, her voice weak but clear. "I am done protecting you. You have done enough damage." The story spread through the village like wildfire. By evening, everyone knew. By the next morning, people who once greeted him with respect now turned their faces away. His creditors suddenly became bold. They came to his house demanding payment loudly in front of his neighbors. His expensive agbada and shiny car suddenly looked like stolen goods. His wife heard the full story and packed her things the same night. She took the children and left without a word. His older sons refused to speak to him. One of them said publicly, "We don't want people to know we are related to a thief." The beautiful house he built with Amara's money became a prison. People passed by and pointed. Children whispered. The shame grew heavier every day. He tried to sell the house to pay his debts, but no one wanted to buy it. They said the house carried bad luck. More old scams came out. One by one, his lies were exposed. Within weeks, Uncle Kelechi went from big man to a broken figure. He walked with his head down. His clothes became dirty. The confident voice that once filled rooms now stayed silent. He started drinking heavily. He sat alone on the veranda of his quiet house, the same house built from Amara's pain, staring at nothing. He had lost everything: his money, his family, his respect, his peace. He got exactly what he deserved. A few days later, Mama Ngozi came to Amara with a folded paper. She placed it on the table with shaking hands. It was the original land title, still in Amara's name, the one thing Uncle Kelechi could never steal. "I failed you," Mama Ngozi whispered, "but I kept this." Amara stared at the paper for a long time. She didn't hug her mother. The wound was still too fresh, the pain too deep. But she didn't push her away either. Some things take time. That evening, Amara went to the plot alone. The golden sunlight cut through the trees. The 4 broken walls stood silently, covered in weeds. They would have to be torn down. Everything had to be cleared before something new could grow. She stood in the middle of her land and breathed deeply. Then she took out her phone and called her best friend in America. Her friend picked up quickly. "Amara, how are you?" Amara looked at the sky, wide, open, full of new possibilities. "I'm okay," she said. Her voice was steady, stronger than it had been in years. "I know what I'm building now.